Hey, it's Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com and datingfire.com. If you're like most women who have been in a relationship for more than 6 months, you might start to wonder, how do you get this guy to marry you, right? I mean, after all, marriage is the goal of most committed relationships, or at least a really firm commitment, right? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you how to get a man to marry you with 11 secret tips. And before we get started with the video, why don't you just knock out the big 3 right off the bat? Hey, let's make this easy. Number 1, like and subscribe to the videos. If you like them, why not? And of course, turn on the notifications so you know when the next video comes out. And if you have any questions or you want to suggest a video, you can leave that down in the comments section below. Now, there's 4 big steps in any relationship. Count them 4. The first date, right? That's a pretty big step. The first sleepover, of course, that's an awesome step right there. Number 3 is becoming exclusive, kind of getting that out of the way. But then number 4, the big one, getting engaged or getting married. Now, some women consider number 3 and number 4 to be pretty darn close, right? Becoming exclusive, and they all kind of fall under the heading of being committed or commitment. Every woman has had her issues getting a man to commit. It's probably the biggest, most common joke and thing that is ever talked about when it comes to relationships. You know that at some point a guy will get comfortable in the relationship and he'll just try to coast, right? He's going to slow down, and that's right about when you want to start to speed up and move this thing forward. Then come the phrases we've all come to know and love. Honey, we need to talk. What are we? I need to know where this is going. Now, if you'll pardon my imitation of a woman saying that, these are a few of the things that women say when they're starting to feel that pull of, let's make this thing a committed relationship. But you can't let him stall you. You still have to know how to get him to propose and to marry you. Even if you don't actually get married, you got to get him all the way there to make that final commitment eventually. So, how do you get a man to marry you? Let's start with secret number 1. Start with a little bit of group hypnosis. This one might sound a little bit sneaky, but it works, and it's a great tactic for getting a man really invested in a long-term relationship with you. All you got to do if you want him to propose to you is to start hanging around your friends that are either engaged already or they're already married. Spend a lot of time with them and around them, provided that they're a healthy couple, of course. Obviously, you don't want to hang around with any troubled relationships. Most men hold back from marriage simply because they haven't got a lot of positive examples of good marriages. Interestingly, most women don't either, but you have a stronger drive towards a committed long-term relationship. Men need to see good examples of strong relationships. He wants to know that being your partner will actually be worth it. And this needs to be nurtured even after the wedding, after you get married. My wife and I hang around only positive relationships. Marriages where both people are committed to it and they're working on it. Doing this is like being in a peer group that's always telling you how cool it is to make your marriage work, not fail. Doesn't that sound like a more positive environment? Think of how far that would go towards making him love the idea of marrying you. Secret number 2 is to love you like you love him. Now, look, you gotta love your own life as much as you love the idea of making this guy your partner. Now, you've probably heard this particular bit of advice on every single list of how to get a guy to marry you, but that's not stopping me from including it here because, well, the reason is it's essential. You have to know your own worth. And yet so few women actually take the time to work on this one thing. Like right now, I bet you're like, Carlos, hurry up, get on to the next one. Don't skip it. The ultimate truth is this: a man can and will never love you more than you love yourself. It's always true. Sure, you might think you love yourself, but we all want to believe we do, but it's not always a slam dunk. Take some time to really do a personal inventory. Make a list of the things that you would like to change about yourself or your life to improve it. Then read it over. Decide how much of it you can be happy with right this moment. Even if it's not perfect, even if you'd like to update it and upgrade it, there's no reason why you can't in the future. But make a list of the things you gotta change to make this worth happening. Most women will never do that step. Secret number 3, make sure the whoopee never stops. Of course, by whoopee, you know what I mean, right? The physical intimacy in your relationship. One of a man's greatest fears that stops him from proposing marriage is the worry that when he does get married, the fun times in the bedroom will come to a stop, a complete halt. The fear is not completely unfounded either. Many relationships allow themselves to stagnate or cool off when the commitment gets official. So make sure that you keep your physical intimacy burning hot at all times. And if there are any issues from your past that keep you from wholeheartedly enjoying that sexual intimacy in your relationship, get them fixed. Get them straightened out right now. Because I'll tell you this, they never go away. Secret number 4, get the history. If there's one thing you've got to know about this guy, you've got to know what his background is with relationships. Not just his own relationships, but the relationships of his friends and his family and his peer group. Because those relationships are teaching him his opinions and beliefs about relationships. This sounds kind of logical, doesn't it? If you ask a man, you can find out anything you want to know about him. All you got to do is ask. You simply have to know how to bring things up without raising his alarms. And this is something I teach you in my programs. I'll come back to that one. Some of the things you need to find out: the problems he's had in his past relationships, the types of women that he's typically drawn to for long-term relationships and has stayed with, not what he says, but who he's actually stayed with, the reasons he's broken up in the past, the reasons women have broken up with him in the past, his beliefs about relationships. Has he ever come close to proposing before? Why? And his beliefs about his friends' current relationships. Yes, his friends. All of these details are going to paint this complete paint-by-numbers picture for you about what it's going to take to get him to propose. Secret number 5 is a big one too, and you'd be surprised how few women do this, or maybe you're not surprised, I don't know. Appreciate the hell out of him. Appreciation is at the top of most men's lists when it comes to him knowing if he's doing a good job with your relationship. This is how he knows. He doesn't get a letter grade, he gets appreciation. An A for appreciation, right? Therefore, it's in your best interest to make sure you let him know how much you appreciate him every single waking moment. And yes, this will inspire him to appreciate you back, which is, again, more of everything that a woman wants right now too, right? I can't cover every single secret because I've only got so much time on the video, but hey, if you want the rest, you can always go over to the site, go on over to datingfire.com, and that will forward you right over to the blog. Secret number 7, make sure he knows what you're worth. Look, there's no reason why you shouldn't engage in a little bit of healthy self-promotion. Back when I was working in the big C, corporate America, I knew that the most important thing I could do was make sure my boss knew what I was up to. Right? I had to make sure he or she had to be aware of all the hard work I was putting in. I never let them forget it. I was annoying this way. Everywhere I looked around me, people were working hard, but they didn't make their efforts very visible. They seemed to be afraid this would look like they were bragging or butt kissing, or it would just look wrong. But the truth was, if they didn't self-promote, they got overlooked. And that's how I succeeded where they didn't. I just made sure my victories were obvious. You've got to do the exact same thing in your relationship if you want him for your partner. Make sure he's aware of when you do him a favor. Make sure he's aware of all the things your friends appreciate you for. Make sure he knows that you have value and he sees it. And by the way, this is also how you ensure his gratitude and make sure that he doesn't take you for granted after the wedding. Secret number 8 is to drop the big D, which means, I hate to say this, but drop the drama. Like right now. Look, there's nothing more unappealing to men than being pulled into what we call emotional drama. And I know what you're saying, Carlos, I am not a drama queen. I hate this drama stuff. And honestly, you've probably heard this one quite a few times too, right? Here's the reality. Compared to a man's life, yours is chock full of emotional drama. Okay? He has different standards than you do, which is why you must pay attention to this, not your own standards. Remember that a man's life is focused on peace and quiet. A man considers his life happy when he doesn't have to deal with a ton of emotional turmoil. Just remember that, okay? Here's another great secret. Give him a Shyamalan. The movie director, M. Night Shyamalan, I think that's how it's pronounced, Shyamalan, is famous for his twist endings. You remember the movie Sixth Sense, right? You probably never saw that ending coming. He uses that trick a lot in his movies. He's got the surprise ending, and it's particularly effective. If you know that it's his trick, the next time you watch one of his movies, you watch it really closely. You pay attention to every little detail. Your focus is on everything so you can try and predict the ending and not miss anything. How is he going to fool us this time? And when you can't figure it out, and he gets you, the surprise feels so spectacularly rewarding. Well, you should do the same thing in your relationship. You want your man to feel like the ending is always unexpected, even if it's not an ending. Keep him feeling like he can't predict you. Keep him on his toes. Keep him guessing about you. When he feels like there's more to learn about you, that will keep his interest and his desire flowing for you all the time, 24/7. On the other hand, if you've fallen into a routine of sameness about your relationship, it's going to bore him. So get on that one. Next secret is stay on the market, or at least marketable. This tip is the hardest one for me to give to women, not because it's a very difficult tip, but most women just refuse it right off the bat. But it's probably the most important. The fact of the matter is that no one appreciates what they get too easily. This is a maxim of life. You've got to understand this one. Nobody appreciates what they get for free or too easily. And this is especially true for men in relationships. He won't value you if you are too easy to win, because that would mean there was no challenge. Men need challenge. We absolutely have to have it. So he has to be aware that you are valuable in the dating market. He has to know that other men desire you. He has to know that you have other options than him. He has to know that if he doesn't work hard, he's going to lose you. Now, I'm getting off on a little bit of a rant here, but this is important. If you think that this is game playing, you're wrong. This is the simple truth of supply versus demand. Gold is valuable because there isn't that much of it on our planet, relatively speaking. This is generally true of almost all the valuable metals and gems out there. The same is true about women. The more rare she is, the more desirable she is to him. This is a fact. It's not up for debate. The fact doesn't care if you like it or not. If he doesn't feel like he could lose you, he will never truly value you. And he has to feel and understand your value. Because every woman needs to feel desired. I bet you're nodding your head right now. You should. Secret number 10 is patience and timing. Most women don't realize this, but they have probably been closer to a marriage proposal and getting married than they ever dreamed possible. But as the saying goes, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. No matter what you want or what timeline you're on, you have to slow yourself down to his speed. Let me say this again. No matter how fast you want to drive this car, this relationship car, you've got to slow down to his speed, because if you break the speed limit of his comfort in getting to know you, getting attached to you, and feeling like you're his trusted best friend, you're going to risk scaring him off. Breaking the speed limit of his emotions has a very big fine. Guys work on their own timeline, and no matter how much you want this thing to go faster, unfortunately the person with the slower pace is the one in charge. Because if you rush him, oh, he will freak out. On the other hand, if he hurries, then you're free to match his pace as much as you want. There are ways, by the way, to make him speed up a little bit, stomp on the gas in your relationship. Do you know what they are? The women that are most successful with men in getting marriage proposals are the ones that never hurry things. They actually go slower than he wants to go. Think about that for a second. She's going slower than he wants to go, both with physical and emotional intimacy. Guys fall in love in a very particular sequence. Think about it. There's a very distinct pattern of events that tells him that he's in love and he needs to ask you to marry him. He has to go through these steps. Number 1, he asks you out. Number 2, you start dating. Number 3, you fall in love. Number 4, you gradually weave your lives together. Number 5, he realizes, well, he needs to lock you down. Number 6, he proposes. Now, if you jump ahead in this sequence, you will sabotage things. He will not marry you because he senses that you have another motive besides enjoying him in his love. Let me say that again. He's not going to marry you if he senses that you have some other motive besides enjoying him. And finally, secret number 11 is just keep having fun. This is one that a lot of women never realize this until it's too late. And even after they do realize it, they continue to make this mistake in relationships, usually from impatience. It's the one thing, if there's one thing that's going to make him fall in love with you and propose to you, it's you being so much fun with him that he can't stand it. He has to have you. You think about that for a second. You got to remember, a man is tuned into his favorite radio station. Do you know what that is? WIIFM. That's right. Hot on the airwaves. It's What's in It for Me. WIIFM. It's all of our radio stations. We're all tuned into that same station. He wants to have a relationship that he wouldn't want to lose. That's why he proposes to you. Think about this. He needs to see that marrying you would be better than all the pain he would experience if he didn't marry you. So making sure that he sees how much fun you are is absolutely critical. Keep doing the things that made your dating at the early part so much fun. Laughing together, spending time together, doing nothing together, conversations that don't have to go anywhere or talk about commitment. No pressure about getting married or kids or what the future holds. Now, I know you're saying, Carlos, if I don't ever bring it up, it's never going to happen. And I'm telling you, if you insist on bringing it up, it will never happen. He's going to propose to you when you show him that you don't need him, other men want you, and he stands to lose you if he doesn't get off his ass and move. Plain and simple, my friends. But women often panic and lose their cool, and they start to rush things. They destroy the goodwill in their relationship by needing an outcome or a result before he's willing to give it. Remember that relationship speed limit I was talking about? Be patient, keep things fun. It's the ultimate recipe for a marriage proposal. And hey, you know what? I got a bonus for you today. That's right, I got a bonus. It's secret number 12. Get past his commitment hurdle. Many women don't realize that a man has a commitment hurdle. It's not the same thing as commitment phobia. In fact, the whole commitment phobia thing, that's kind of a myth. It's not real if you understand how commitment works with guys. In fact, his hurdle is really not very challenging, but you do need to know how to get past it. A man's commitment hurdle is simply the one doubt he has that's stopping him from proposing to you right this moment. You can call it his marriage traffic light, if you will. If it's red, he's not going forward. If it's green, he'll drop to one knee and put that ring on your finger. Now, his commitment hurdle is usually the most important need that he wants to be sure he will still get in his relationship. Many men are used to the dance of relationships at the start. That's where you both are in love with being in love, right? You do all the nice stuff, you try to make them happy, and then at some point, the honeymoon is over. And men are sensitive to this pattern in relationships too. Remember this one important fact above all else. Men are inspired to commit to you, not required to commit to you. Let me say it again. Men are inspired to commit to you, not required to commit. There's no rule that he says he must marry you or that he has to have the same goals for your relationship that you do. But there is a secret law that makes men commit that very few women, almost no women or men, really understand what it's about. It's called the Cupid effect, and not one woman in 1,000 know it even exists. If you want to know what it is, I can tell you. I've got a video, a special presentation. Go over and check it out. This little link you see below me here. That's right, datingfire.com/Cupid. datingfire.com/Cupid. You'll learn about the Cupid effect and how it gets a man past that whole commitment phobia thing. I know, I put the little finger quotes, but you get the point, right? It's not real, but it feels real, and that's all that matters to you. You got to get him past it, and you better get him past it. The Cupid effect works to make him desire you. When a man is in this constant mode of desiring you, he's never going to want to let you go. He's always going to want you around, and that means, that's right, he's going to want to marry you. What a cool, easy way to figure out this problem, right? Going over to datingfire.com/Cupid. That's datingfire.com/Cupid. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo. It's been great talking to you. Again, love to have you back next week, and make sure you do the big 3 before you leave. Like and subscribe. Hey, if you're here this long, you must have liked the video. Keep getting them. They're free. They're easy. Go make sure you subscribe, and of course turn on notifications. And if you have any questions, or if you just want to suggest a video for me, put that down in the comment section below. This is Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. As always, live and love with passion.